Hello everyone, good morning and welcome back to Total Football Talks. We're going to look at all of this news coming out around Manchester United. And as always, there is bloody plenty. And I am fired up this morning because the Glazers are back making headlines in America, which will potentially have a detrimental effect on Manchester United. Now, originally I was going to go with the story that was on the thumbnail about Antony and Atletico Madrid. But I now see I came across this story about what Joel Glazer's been saying about the Buccaneers and what they're looking to do over there in America, which has absolutely riled my blood. So we'll have a quick look at that. We will also look at the news that's coming out about Victor Osimhen. Laurie Whitwell was talking about it on the Stratford Paddock, but since then David Ornstein has come out and kind of gave a 180 on what Laurie Whitwell has said. We'll also look at who our main striker is going to be. We all know who that's going to be. I think it's becoming clear as day as we do more and more of these videos. It looks like we probably already know who we're going to be chasing on that one. And we will also be looking at a little bit about Amir Ibragimov, who is an exceptional young player coming through the academy, and what he's just done recently and what he holds for the future of Manchester United. So guys, I'm going to do a quick 10-minute roundup. Apologies, sometimes I go over every rant. But yeah, we're just going to look at all the latest news, and we're going to start with the old Glazers. But before I do, if you're enjoying the content and you could subscribe to the channel, please do so. Get your comments in below on anything I talk about. I'd love to hear from you. Hit the old like button. That would also be fantastic too. Thank you very much. But let's dive into the old Buccaneers. The old Joel Glazer and his Buccaneer escapades. So the Glazers love their American football is their main thing. That's what they love. That's kind of what they have followed all their lives. Manchester United is just their cash cow. All they want to do for Manchester United is bring money out of our club and use it to fund whatever else they want to do that's unrelated to Manchester United. Because we know over all the years they have absolutely gave us zero, nada, nothing. They've given us absolutely nothing. They've just stripped us bare and left us out to dry. Now, apparently in the Buccaneers Stadium, funny enough, it needs to be revamped now. Because it's tired, old, and in 2028 they lose the lease is up, so they have got big decisions to make. Apparently they own land around the stadium. So is it going to be another rebuild? How are they going to afford that? Because I have no idea how it works. They're talking about having relationships with the local county and talking to them. Funny enough, when you hear the video, you should go and check it out. Joel Glazer, again, it sounds like a broken relationship. It sounds like the county don't really hear from them, and the Glazers are kind of just going about business as they normally do, just doing whatever it is they want, whenever the hell they want. And I just think that our Manchester United is going to suffer. We've got a massive stadium rebuild, which we don't even have a start date for yet, which is a disgrace. God only knows when we're going to have a rebuild start. But it needs to happen soon. It's probably not going to happen soon. And now they're going to be focused on a rebuild for their main priority, their stadium in their Buccaneer Stadium, which is just phenomenal that this is actually happening right now. That they are, funny enough, doing two rebuilds around the same time. Jesus, God mighty help us! This is awful news. I can't foresee. Are they just going to let Sir Jim Ratcliffe oversee everything at Manchester United while they work on their development of their new stadium for the Buccaneers? Is that what's going to happen? Because I can only see this being a recipe for disaster, absolute disaster. But get your thoughts in this morning. What do you think of this particular news? I mean, the Buccaneers, when you read some of their Instagram posts, the supporters are not very happy with the Glazers, not very happy with ticket prices, not very happy with the, plenty of things that are happening within the stadium. And you can hear that they're talking about in the video, Joel Glazer talks about, bringing concerts in, and it's just about generating revenue for them, not probably even for the club, like they want to do at Manchester United. Like Jim Ratcliffe has also spoke, it's almost a mirror image of saying, we want to be able to bring in, sort of festivals and pop stars and X, Y, and Z. But really what we need to be doing is focusing on the pitch, focusing on the stadium. But no, it seems to be the bigger picture of the commercial outlet that needs to generate funds to move the club forward, but only for profit and not necessarily to help the manager or the team. So that's where we are with that one. And yeah, that has really absolutely wind me up this morning. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Let's move on to Atletico Madrid have expressed interest in signing Antony in the summer while he's been impressed on loan at Real Betis. Manchester United are confident their asking price of around 40 million will be met. Now, the question I have to you, do you think that Manchester United are going to get 40 million for Antony? I mean, I think we'll be lucky if we're in and around the 25 to 30 million pound mark. Real Betis have already come out and, there's been talks about crowdfunding pages as jokes. I don't think they can afford his wages and sign him at the same time. Now, he's a god over there. He's absolutely ripping it up in La Liga, which is only beneficial to us if he keeps going. As I said before, happy days. Get in, you Badger, because he can potentially keep his fee at least at the 25 million mark. And it's in and around that mark, 25 to 30 million, that we will break even and we won't lose out on PSR because we won't have to sell him at a loss. If we could get 40 million for him, I mean, that would be amazing, but I think we're dreaming. I just don't foresee that being the case. And so, as I said, there is talk that Manchester United obviously are interested in Victor Osimhen. But there's also, Laurie Whitwell was talking about that Manchester United, Delap is one of their main targets. I think Liam Delap is probably the striker we're going to get now, which is a concern. I will back him. I hope he does really well when he comes in, and I think the relationship that we have with McKenna at Ipswich, because he used to be a coach at Manchester United, and he developed the younger players as well when he was the sort of junior coaches. I think our relationship will help get this across the line at 40 million, and I will back him. He's a good player. 10 goals in the Premier League. Is that good enough at 22 in his first season? Can he go on and improve from there? If you look at Rasmus from last season, hasn't moved on this season. Unfortunately, he's kind of gone backwards. You always have the second season syndrome in the Premier League. Will Liam Delap fall into that? Will he be someone who will come in, do well in the first, do reasonably well for Ipswich? 10 goals or 11 goals, I think maybe it's 11. Not a bad return. But then, as someone quite rightly pointed out, whenever Charlie Austin and came up with QPR back in the sort of, I think it was 2012, 2013 season, he scored 18 Premier League goals. Now, I don't know what age he was now, so I can't compare the age. I'm not entirely sure. He was maybe a bit older than Delap, but still came up from the Championship and in a very poor QPR team scored 18 Premier League goals. Delap has 11. So make of that what you will. I still think there's raw qualities in Delap, and maybe Rubin Amorim can turn him into a player. But has he got the time? I keep talking about this. Has he got the time to do that? I don't know. And it does concern me, but I will back him because the Victor Osimhen thing looks like Laurie Whitwell did say that he talked to Manchester United and they didn't say yes or no. It kind of left it open. But then David Ornstein came out and said that very, very recently, last night, I think it was, that Osimhen could potentially go to Saudi. And I think at 26, he's probably going to get all the money he wants. And I think he's probably going to go to Saudi. He was linked to go there in the summer. I think he will be linked and will go there in the future, as in this particular summer. So we'll lose out on Victor Osimhen. I don't think we're going to go for Gyökeres. I think he'll go somewhere else. And that for me just leaves Delap. And that's probably where we're going to end up chasing. Now, other people will be in for Delap. City obviously have a buyback clause. Liverpool will be looking for a new striker when Darwin Núñez goes, and maybe he'd be a good fit for Liverpool because he'd be coming into a well-oiled team, and maybe he would do very well there, and obviously they can offer Champions League football. So if we lose out on Delap, then maybe we are looking at Jonathan David as a kind of last resort. And if Rubin Amorim is getting kind of last resorts of his top picks, we're in trouble, absolute trouble. So that's where we are with all that. I'm going to fly into the last couple of little bits. And this is a story about Amir Ibragimov. And he signed his first professional contract at Manchester United. Now, this kid's very, very impressive. He's just turned 17, I think. But he has played up in the under-21s. He's been in and around the first team. He is a little ball of central, sort of like, he's kind of robust. It's very small, kind of reminds me of sort of like, it's probably quicker than what Paul Scholes was, but he can play on the left side of, he can play on the left wing and he can play on the left side of a front two, in behind the striker. Very creative, got a great shot on him, very, very powerful, very, very strong, low center of gravity. That's what I was trying to get out earlier. Absolutely low center of gravity, hard to get off the ball, can work very well in tight spaces, very, very good player. 17, massive high hopes. He's got two younger brothers as well at Manchester United in the younger age groups, and they are robust and tough little kids. And I think that all three of them have a chance of coming through. But obviously, Amir is further developed, slightly older than his brothers, and is absolutely firing on all cylinders and doing amazingly well at youth levels. So delighted he signed a permanent contract, and let's just see where his future goes. I don't think he'll be ready over the next sort of season or two, but maybe he will get in. And then obviously there's from the other youngsters to look out for. Bentito Montado, he could be potentially kind of making his debut. Sekakoni. So we have some excellent young kids coming through that are going to need to fill the gaps of the likes of Ericsson and Casemiro if he leaves, Johnny Evans and Victor Lindelof, etc. When all these players kind of depart in the summer on freeze, we will have to fill some of these gaps with some of these younger players. So keep an eye out for these guys. Some of them are very, very talented. Guys, thank you very much. If you enjoyed the content, hit the old like button. Please jump in the comments. Get your comments in about the Glazers. Get your comments in about whether you think 40 million for Antony is a good fee, or whether we can even get that fee. And is it disappointment to maybe miss out on Victor Osimhen and potentially get Delap instead? Get your thoughts in. I'd love to hear from you. I'm going to leave it there, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for listening, guys.